These men, they're dead because you did the right thing. You protected your home, your investment. I'm proud of you. I'm grateful to you. But this ain't over. There's a storm coming. I'm gonna need your help.
Welcome back, everybody. This is my breakdown of The Penguin, episode 7, titled Top Hat. Now, before we get started, let me know in the comments now if you all will want me to host a live watch party for the finale, and I've done this in the past for previous shows, but let me know in the comments now by typing yes to a watch party and or hosting a live after show, or maybe both. Let me know your thoughts about those live streams for next week in the comments below. Now, as far as this episode goes, this episode had two things that felt like a little bit of plot armor that we'll be discussing in this breakdown, but other than that, this was a literal explosive episode filled with needed backstory to what happened to Oz's brothers, and we got to see what makes these characters break. Speaking of break, let's get into this breakdown, spoilers ahead. We open this penultimate episode with a flashback to when Oz was a kid. We see that his foot was even in a brace at a young age as he sets a date for a movie night with his mom. Now we get to meet his other brothers, Benny and Jack, and I said this a few breakdowns ago that what if Oz was jealous of his brothers and had something to do with whatever happened to them? Pretty confident that we'll eventually get the full backstory of what happened to his brothers, but the question I have for you all, do you think that Oz might have had something to do to whatever happened to his brothers? I mean, hell, we know Oz has always been scheming, and I wouldn't be surprised if it started at a young age. Did he maybe get jealous of the relationships that his brothers had with his mom, so to get them out of the picture, he had them removed by, again, either Child Protective Services, or again, maybe he had something to do with them potentially dying. And we see the jealousy of the attention that his mom was giving them in this very scene. Now we see that Frances sends her boys outside while she finishes up some paperwork for Rex Calabrese. Now Frances gives Jack some information to give to Rex Calabrese, and you can clearly see that Jack isn't a fan of Rex, or at the very least, he doesn't like the idea that his mother works for him. Now, after Jack gives Rex what his mother told him to give, we see that Rex gives him $50, and we see that Jack tells his little brothers that Rex doesn't pay his mother enough for working for him, as we watch them head down to the underground tunnels to play a game of hide and seek before the storm hits. Now we know that the game was to help pass the time as the storm passes by, as we see Oz looks around for his brothers and he eventually finds them in this area that goes down by a ladder near a sewer-like area. Now Oz gets upset because it's hard for him to go down a ladder, and he shuts the door on them and leaves them and heads back home, not knowing what he actually did to his brothers. Now back at home, we see Oz and his mom have their movie date night as the rain continues to pour down. Now Frances takes Oz's word about his brothers going to the movies, as we cut to seeing them begging and pleading for help as the water has risen where they're trapped inside, as we slowly see their screams for help eventually stop, and now we know what actually happened to Oz's brothers. This 10-minute flashback sequence gave us so much backstory in such a small amount of time. We got to see the family dynamic, we got to see little jealous Oz and how he was scheming at a young age. We also officially met Rex Calabrese and even saw how Oz has been wanting to get his ma into a penthouse since he was a kid. What a great opening to this fantastic episode. Also, I gotta give props to the casting department. They did a great job of casting the young Oz and also Frances. Those were just spot on casting roles. Now let's have this conversation in the comments. Now look, personally, I don't think that he meant to kill them. I don't think he knew that they were going to drown in the water, but there was clearly a feeling of him wanting his mom for himself, and maybe somewhere down the line, this was bound to happen where Oz would have eventually found a way to get them out of the picture. Either way, what a tragic story, and Oz kept this secret for all these years, saying that the city got them and literally meant it. So share your thoughts about this opening. Do you all think that Oz purposely knew what he was doing by shutting that door? But also just share your overall thoughts about the reveal in the comments below. Flash forward, we see Oz is happy to seeing the lights back on, but he immediately heads upstairs to see the damage that was left inside. We see Vic is knocked out, but eventually wakes up to tell Oz what he remembers. Now Oz sees Sal is outside and has Vic leave and tells him to reach out to his new business partners in crime about what just happened and tasks Vic to building him an army. As it appears that Oz is prepared to face what's coming to him head on, and he's accepting defeat. Now I talked about earlier there were two things that bothered me with this episode regarding plot armor, and this is one of them. I personally was extremely surprised that Sofia kept Vic alive, because all she knows, Vic could could have had something to do with her brother's death, and we know that he did, so I was shocked that she kept him alive. Like, what would be the reason of keeping Vic alive? She didn't have him give Oz a message or anything of that nature, so again, I'm just shocked about that. But honestly, a part of me knows that it's a script, a story cheat code, or like I said, a plot armor to keep Vic alive for now. Again, it could just be me, but let me know if you all felt that it was plot armor that Vic had, and again, did you feel surprised that Sofia kept him alive? Now we see that Sal brings the club that he got from Oz's house and he starts to beat him with it, and this is kind of like a small dose of payback for what Oz did to his wife and son. But we see that Sal isn't here to kill him. He agreed with Sofia to keep him alive for now, as he tells Oz,
"That's just a little taste of what you got coming. We got your mother. Yeah, we got your family now."
Now during all this, we cut to Sofia, who gets the call that they got Oz, and you could just see that smile of happiness on her face as she knows that she's finally got the man who's caused her all this pain and suffering over the past 10 years. Now, Oz is told to show them where he holds his operations, but he wants to see his mom first, but we see that Sal reminds him that he's in no position to making any deals. Now again, we head back to Sofia, who still has that smile on her face as she's serving Francis breakfast. Now as she's serving her, we get served with two of the most important women in Oz's life sharing their first scene together in this series. Sofia tells her that she was led to believe that she was dead, as we see Francis holds her own and wants to get whatever Sofia wants from her. Now she tells Sofia that Oz is not gonna roll over and he will kill Sal like he did to his family, and he will come for her next, and she is just a confident woman in this scene. We even see Francis taking shots at Sofia's recent name change and the new look and personality she's took on, as Sofia is getting a kick out of the lack of fear out of Oz's mom. Now Sofia wants to get some insight from the woman who shaped Oz, and we see Francis shares how Oz felt about working for Sofia and her family for all those years, as she tells her,
"Okay, you want to know about my boy, Oswald? Always 2 steps ahead. All those years, driving you around, cleaning up after you and your family. He was watching, studying. He knows this game better than you. Same winners, same losers. My Oswald puts a bullet in that pretty little skull of yours. I'll be tap dancing on your grave."
After taking all the insults and back and forth from Sofia and Francis, we see Sofia brings up her other boys and wonders if they're really dead, or if Oz has them kept up somewhere like he had her, as this is the breaking point for Francis. This breaks her hard shell. Sofia gets to her as we see her hand begins to shake. Again, Sofia gets to Francis. She gets under her skin because we see that she mentally breaks her as she goes back to all those years of the night where she lost her boys. Now Sofia thinks that this is a good opportunity to maybe get a little bit closer to Francis, but she learns quickly as she gets slapped by her, and Sofia knows that she's onto something and can maybe not just physically get revenge on Oz, but it clearly appears that she wants to break him mentally as well. Like Bane said to Batman in The Dark Knight Rises,
"Ah, yes. I was wondering what would break first. Your spirit or your body?"
Now we cut to Cuckboy Julian telling Sofia about her cousin Gia and how he's learned that a doctor has been asking Gia about what happened the night of the Falcone's deaths. Now Sofia, cool, calm, collective, tells him that she'll take care of this, but she wants him to talk to Francis in the meantime to ask some questions about most likely about Oz, and again, finding a way to break him mentally. Back with Oz and Sal, we see that he takes them to his underground operations as Sal announces the new changes to the management. Now Oz, being Oz, tries to get into Sal's head as he tells him that he's working with Sofia now, even after what her family has taken away from him all those years ago. But we see that he remains loyal, and he tells Oz the only thing keeping him alive right now is the fact that they haven't come up with an idea how to kill him yet. But again, Oz, being Oz, takes the mind games to another level as he brings up how it smelt when killing his wife Nadia and Tariq, and again, just like Francis hearing about her boys, this was his breaking point as he wants to set Oz on fire, which causes a distraction as one of Oz's guys cuts the power off, creating chaos. Now as Oz and Sal go toe to toe, we see that Sal gets the upper hand in this fight, but unfortunately he begins to grab his chest and it appears that he's having a heart attack and he dies right then and there as Oz gives him a piece of his mind about beating him as he shoots him several times, literally shooting the man while he's down and he's dead, as Oz says that he wins. Look, this is my second issue with this fantastic episode, as I am convinced that Oz is a metahuman in this DC Matt Reeves universe, as his superpower is clearly having the world's best luck. I can't lie, I love this show, I love this episode, don't get me wrong. But the ways Oz gets out of things sometimes comes off a bit unrealistic, or similar to earlier this episode with Vic, the plot armor is very thick on his character. Again, I get that unexpected things like this can happen, but him dying of a heart attack? But Sal managing to get stabbed in the gut and survive, and managing to escape a prison and not getting caught? The only reason I bring these two things up is because this show is so airtight with amazing script, and everything is so grounded in its universe and its approach. So when things like Vic surviving for no reason, or Oz making it out of this fight after we see this heart attack happen to Sal, when these moments happen, it just stands out to me like a sore thumb. And again, it's just showing the plot armor for these characters, where I just think there could have been a better way to execute those moments for those characters. Now back to Oz winning, we see he gathers the men who survived the shootout and gives them a speech as he tells them,
"There's a storm coming. I'm gonna need your help."
Now we go back to Sofia, who's paying a visit to Gia as she walks in the hallways and reminds her of all the years that she spent in Arkham. Now Gia tells her that she saw a mask in Sofia's bag the night of her parents' death, and she actually asks her if she killed her parents. Now we watch as Sofia does what I would imagine her father Carmine Falcone did when explaining what happened to her mother when she was Gia's age. Now we see that Sofia manages to manipulate her, as we see Gia agrees with her about what happened that terrible night was an accident, as Sofia sees that she's been harming herself by cutting her own arm. Now even though Sofia is locked in and she's taken on this new personality, she still sees the parallels between what happened with Gia and what happened to her, as she tells her,
"It might sound confusing, and I know that it hurts. Your mom and your dad, everyone in our family, they were bad people, deserved it. And I am glad that they're gone."
Now secretly, I know this would never happen in a million years, but I personally would love it if Matt Reeves ages up Gia and makes her like a Batgirl character, right? I know obviously it'll be a whole new backstory, or make her a new Robin, but seriously, Gia would be a perfect candidate to join the Bat family. Now as Sofia leaves, we see this conversation has clearly shaken her, and I love this episode showing all these tough interior type of characters having these vulnerable moments, like again, Frances and her boys, or hearing about her boys, or Oz and his mom being taken, or Sal and his family's death. All these people putting on fronts, putting on their masks, but deep down inside, they all have a similar pain, and that's losing the people closest to them. Now we see Sofia getting the call from Oz as he tells her,
"You want to kill me? I get it. But there is one thing you want more. Ever since I known you, you had your eye on the throne. That's your chance. All you gotta do is bring it to me. Just bring it to me."
So the question is, will she take the bait? Back with Francis, we see Julian using the same machine that he would use in Sofia, but the session is cut short as we see Sofia pulls him aside to talk. She tells him that Sal has died and tells him about her agreeing with Oz and meeting with her and dropping his mother off so she can take the throne. She continues to say that she knows it's a trap, but she doesn't care because she knows she's doing this pattern or this generational curse of repeating the same thing over and over again, of all these crimes and drugs and all the dead bodies her father left behind as she's becoming him. We see Sofia begins having a panic attack as Julian pulls her back and asks her what she really wants, as she tells him,
I want Oz to feel pain, real pain, the kind that I have felt. I need him to suffer what he's done.
Now back with Oz, who has his army ready, but he still hasn't heard back from Vic, as he learns that it appears that Sofia is headed his way. Now we see this black car slowly creeping up to him as he gets a call from Sofia. As Sofia mentions that his ma helped her figure out who she wants to be, as we see the car getting closer to Oz, we see this guy get out of the car, runs out of the car. Oz looks in the back seat and he finds what he thinks is the only person he's ever truly loved and cared for, but it's a part of Sofia's new game. She's the Jigsaw of this world now, as his mother is still alive, but she left him with a ticking time bomb. She tells him that if he survives, to come find her. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what I call a wonderful story callback as Oz runs and jumps in what I assume is the same place with the door that he locked his brothers into as the bomb explodes, killing what I assume is most of the men on that area there and causing a ripple effect on the surface. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Batman, if you don't get your ass out of your cave and figure this out, I don't know what else to say. Now, we end this explosive episode by going back to Oz's flashback where we cut to the story of Oz when he told Sofia at her brother's funeral about the state of his mom was in after losing her boys, and the night that she took him to listen to jazz, as it's the same place that Sofia took her when she was on the phone with Oz. We see Francis telling Oz to make her a promise to making sure that he gives her all the dreams that she wants, that they come true, and giving her the penthouse and everything that comes with that dream, or else she doesn't know how she's gonna be able to live with herself after losing her boys. This being Oz's motivation as he promises he'll give her the life that she deserves and he won't quit until he does. This explains so much. This explains everything about Oz, why he's done what he's done before the show and all the events that we've seen in this show to keep the promise to his loving mother. Again, what makes a great villain is them seeing or justifying their actions being rooted in good faith in their reality, and Oz sees the lying, the cheating, the killing as a way of getting his ma the life that she deserves. Look, it's effed up, right? But he is the true definition of a mama's boy. Now, the last shot shows Oz in the debris as he climbs up the same steps that he couldn't get down when he was a kid, as he sees the destruction on the ground level and runs into the drop head detective that we met a few weeks ago, as he's here on the behalf of Sofia and he knocks out Oz to take him to her. Look, minus the two plot armors of Vic at the start and the convenient heart attack in the middle, this episode was just straight up excellent. Now, I talked about the incredible backstory that we opened this episode with and giving us so much depth to Oz as a kid and learning about his brothers. And man, what a well-written and character-driven episode. Again, seeing the breaking points of all these characters who put the mask on to hide their emotions and pain. Again, from Frances and her boys, Saul and his family, to Oz making sure his mom is safe, to Sofia realizing that she's becoming her father and becoming a monster. All these people showing what breaks them was so well done. So look, man, we only got one episode left, and it's safe to assume that we're getting a Sofia versus Oz showdown, but the question is, with Oz losing most of his men, who's gonna back him up or save him? Which brings me to this question, where was Vic the rest of the episode? Who is he gonna get to back up Oz? Now, my safe, educated guess is that he's gonna get the triads and get the other people that agreed to work with Oz, and I'm pretty sure that that's the people that he's going to get to save Oz, and it's going to be a big shootout between these different groups, Sofia versus Oz. So when it comes to next week, this big battle, who's going to live, who's going to die? Starting off with Frances, I think she will die next week, unfortunately, but before she dies, I can see Julian using his skills to make her turn on Oz, or at the very least, make it where Oz has to tell her the truth about what actually happened to his brothers. Now, the big question that a lot of people have on their mind is, will Vic make it out in the finale? Now, I'll be honest, I'm kind of torn on Vic. I don't know if he's going to make it out next week, but I can also see him making it out and maybe taking the fall and maybe going to Arkham for Oz. Like, I'm not sure what's going to happen to Vic next week. Now, speaking of Oz, I think it's pretty clear that he's the only character that's going to be safe in the finale because Matt Reeves already confirmed that he's in the Batman Part 2. But look, he could be lying, but I doubt it. But he is the one character that I feel pretty confident will survive in the finale next week. Now, speaking of surviving, I need this character to get their own movie, their own series, whatever they want, and I'm talking about Sofia Gigante. Listen to me, I'm putting this out there to the world. Do not, I repeat, do not kill Sofia Gigante because she's such an incredible character. I would love to see her interact with Batman and just be this big bad villain in Batman Part 2 or 3. I love her. Please do not kill her next week. Now listen, if you made it to this point in the video, I can't thank you enough for the support. Put in the comments right now, hashtag RIP to Jack and Benny. Now I'll be back next week to discuss the finale, episode 8, and just maybe, again, depending on how this video goes and if you all all. Put in the comments now if you want me to do a live watch party for the finale or do a live stream after show next Sunday. Again, let me know in the comments by engaging with this video. Put in the comments now if you want me to do that again. I'll only do it if you're interested. Either way, I would love for you all to please hit the like button if you enjoyed this breakdown. Share this video to anyone and everyone you know that's been loving the show. And also, more importantly, share your theories. What's going to happen next week? What do you want to happen next week? Let's talk about it all in the comments below. And hey, if you all are having a good time, consider sticking around by subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell notification. Now, between now and then, make sure to check out all of my videos that I put out this week. A lot of cool movie reviews that I have on the channel. And also make sure to follow me on my social media accounts, which you can find those links in the description of this very video. You all are amazing. Stay safe, and I'll catch you all on the next breakdown.